That's the thing about life. It can be unpredictable, but your dreams need not be. How far would you go to make your dreams come true? How close are you to reaching those goals set by you? While others focus on a new normal, you focus on a new beginning. Look around for what inspires you. Build your narrative. After all, it's your story to tell. Take a chance. Take a leap. Begin your study abroad journey with us.
Looking for the right course for you? Welcome to AECC Global's Course Search, your one-stop platform for all your international education needs. Browse through millions of free, valuable study abroad resources to pursue your international study dream. To begin your search, type in your preferred course in the search bar. Filter by sub-course category, level of study, destination preference, tuition fees, duration, and post-study work visa. With a destination drop-down, you can search for the preferred destinations of your choice. You can also filter down courses by top-ranked universities in your preferred destination and their rankings. Browse through various career choices, and you can also browse through free student resources like articles on tips to study abroad, the latest news, etc. We are here to support you with every step of your study abroad journey. To explore your course options, visit search.aeccglobal.com.
Selamat malam teman-teman. Welcome to AECC Global Indonesia Masterclass Session. Bagaimana dengan liburan panjang kalian yang baru saja berakhir? Masih dalam suasana bulan Idul Fitri, saya ingin mengucapkan selamat Hari Raya Idul Fitri 1 Syawal 1443 bagi kalian yang merayakannya. Mohon maaf lahir dan batin. Saya dengan Lani dari AECC Global Indonesia yang akan menjadi host Anda malam hari ini. Dan juga salam kenal tentunya bagi mereka yang baru pertama kali mengikuti acara kami. Thank you everyone for taking the time to join us this evening. As a reminder, this is the third masterclass series with University of Derby. Ya, kalau misalnya teman-teman yang waktu itu hadir masih ingat, kita ada 3 series. Yang pertama, Get Your UK Master's Degree at University of Derby di bulan Maret. Kemudian kita juga ada masterclass mengenai Hospitality and Tourism di bulan April. Dan malam hari ini, topik kita will be around Living Safely and Sustainably, the Future of Environmental Building and Construction. So we thank University of Derby so very much for showcasing the different topics in our masterclass series. Okay, our guest of honors from University of Derby tonight. Kita ada beberapa tamu tentunya. Pertama adalah Dr. Boris Seranik, diploma engineer, I think, and then he's also a candidate doctor. MCIAT, which is a member of the Chartered Institute of Architectural Technologists, and RIBA, the Royal Institute of British Architects, and SFHEA, Senior Fellowship of the Higher Education Academy. I hope I got it right.
Correct.
Okay. Would you like to say hello to our audience as well, please, Dr. Boris?
Well, good evening, everyone, and I'm really looking forward to presenting tonight both a few information about our courses, particularly one that is very related to the topic of today, which is Masters in Sustainable Architecture and Healthy Buildings, but also looking forward to answering any questions that you might have. We will start first with our international officer, Anna Scott, that will say a few words about generally about the University of Derby and where it is in England, and few other information that you might find very useful. So Anna, when you're ready, please say next slide.
Right. Just before Anna starts, I would also like to introduce Dr. Joanna Poon, who is the head of Built Environment, Associate Professor in Built Environment. And she's also the head of Built Environment within the College of Science and Engineering. She's also covering subject areas of civil engineering, quantity surveying, construction, architectural technology, and interior architecture. Dr. Joanna Poon, would you like to say hello to our audience? Okay.
We might have lost Joanna, but just to clarify, I will be able to cover any questions about those courses too.
Yeah. And then we also have our Anna Scott, the international officer at University of Derby, who will kick off the session tonight. So without further ado, let me pass on the screen to Anna first.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, so if you could share the presentation for us, and I'll tell you when to move across.
So do I have to share again? Sorry.
Yes.
Can you not see my presentation?
No, I think you need to.
No. Right, sorry, just a second.
While you're doing that, I'll just introduce myself. So my name's Anna Scott, and I'm the International Officer here at the University of Derby that covers Southeast Asia. So I can answer any questions on life at the university, entry requirements, any questions you might have on accommodation. And we're also going to talk a bit about the scholarships we have on offer here at the university too.
Can you now see the presentation, Anna?
I can see it, yeah. Do you want to put it on full screen?
I'm just trying to do that, trying to find where it is.
I think you did it at the top last time on display settings, did you?
I did, but I can't find display settings at the moment. Apologies, people, it won't be a second. Just a second.
No worries. While Dr. Boris is trying to put it on full screen, I'll just introduce him a little bit further. Dr. Boris adalah senior academic and researcher di University of Derby. Dia adalah program leader untuk Master of Science Architectural Courses in the Center of Excellence Leader. Kemudian Dr. Boris juga mempunyai 10 tahun experience in construction sites and in his own design and build practice prior to entering the academia world in 1996. Along with academic duties, he is also practicing by undertaking high-level design consultancy. specializing in the areas of sustainable urban design and net zero carbon or low energy buildings. Jadi kalau teman-teman punya banyak pertanyaan mengenai hal-hal terkait urban design dan low energy building, he is the very expertise. His expertise is also in sustainable architecture and net zero carbon design, sustainable urban design and master planning, building performance simulation, building information modeling, life cycle assessment, modular design, and modern methods of construction. Wow. Jadi nanti kita akan dapat kesempatan untuk lebih engage ke Dr. Boris setelah ini. Okay, Anna, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, as I said, I'm Anna Scott. I'm the International Officer that covers Southeast Asia. My details are there on the first slide, so I'm happy to answer any questions after this about anything to do with Derby. If you want to move on to the first slide. So whenever I'm out, well, when I used to be out in Indonesia, I've not been out for a couple of years, but hopefully I will be back soon. I used to always get asked, where is Derby? So Derby's in the heart of England, in a place called the East Midlands. We're about 90 minutes north of London on the train, and about the same south of Manchester. So we're right in the centre of the United Kingdom, which is really good because we have city life in Derby, but we also have countryside life right on our doorstep. So we have something called the Peak District National Park just next to us. If you are travelling to the UK from Jakarta, you can travel directly from Jakarta to London. It takes about 17.5 hours. Or you can come to a couple of the other airports, which are slightly closer to Derby. So we do have a small airport near Derby called East Midlands Airport, but the biggest one that flies internationally is Birmingham, really. So you can fly to Birmingham. That takes about 17, 18 hours if you're connecting somewhere. And you can also fly into Manchester as well. Next slide, please. So I talked briefly about the countryside that we have surrounding Derby. It's called the Peak District National Park, and it's a very popular weekend destination here in the United Kingdom. It's a really good base for many outdoor activities, such as hiking, mountain biking and canoeing. But also it's a really nice place just to wander around, take lots of pictures, and kind of take in the real England, as we say. So a lot of people have visited London, but it's really nice to get outside of the big cities and see what the English countryside has to offer. Next slide, please. Thank you. So if you did come and live in Derby, it's actually one of the most affordable cities in the UK to live in. We have a very reasonable cost of living here. And we'll talk a little bit later about the cost of if you were to come to the university. We've also got something called a purple flag, and this is an award that we have in the United Kingdom that recognises Derby as being a safe place, as well as a welcoming and diverse city as well. We've got lots of lovely parks. So the closest part to our campus is called Markeaton Park, and that's just a short walk across the road from our main Kedleston Road site. But then we do have other sites and buildings across Derby, and between them there's lots of green spaces as well. We have a diverse international student population. So we actually have students coming from all over the world, from about 100 countries, studying at both undergraduate and postgraduate level. And it's also a lively city, which is home to a few multinational companies, such as Rolls-Royce, Toyota and Bombardier that you might have heard of. So it's a very multicultural city. We're very proud of the fact that we have lots of international students, but not only the student population, the population in Derby city itself is very diverse and multicultural too. Next slide, please. So this just shows you a little bit about our campus. So I talked about, we have the main Kedleston Road campus. That's the picture you see at the top. That's just outside of the city centre. And then between that and the city centre, there's several other campuses as well. So the Mark Eaton Street campus is our science, technology, engineering and mathematics campus. That's where most of the programs that we're going to talk about today would probably be based, and all of the facilities there. And then right in the city centre, we have a law building. And just next door to the law building, we've actually just been granted permission to build a new business school. And then we also have an art and design building and a fashion house. So between that area of the city, there's lots of university buildings, with a mixture really between a city and a main campus. So we have kind of both aspects. At the main campus at Kedleston Road, you'll see that there's a big sports centre, and that's where the library is and the Union of Students. And we also have something called the Multi-Faith Centre there, which is an area that people can go and pray or just have quiet reflection if they want. Mark Eaton Street is just a short walk from that. And then again, a short walk into the city centre. So there is a bus that takes you between all of the buildings, but because I'd say the maximum walk you were going to do would be about 20 minutes between the buildings. So students do walk between the campus buildings through the nice parks. Next slide, please. So once you join us, we have several student centres that will be able to help and support you. So we're proud to have been ranked the best in the UK for formally welcoming international students arriving from overseas. As part of that welcome programme, we provide a free meet and greet pickup service from several UK airports on selected dates. And then you'll also have a welcome week specifically for international students to help you to get to know the area, the university, and to help you make new friends. Within that week, we hold several events, like barbecues, and we might show you, kind of give you a tour of the local city and where the nearest shops are and things that you might need to buy. If you do come into the university accommodation, we would provide you with an essentials pack. So don't worry, you wouldn't need to bring all of your pots and pans and duvet in your small suitcase. We do provide things like that. So we try and make it as easy a transition as possible, because we know for some people, and many of our international students, it might be the first time that you're visiting the United Kingdom. So it can be a bit daunting, and we try and make it as easy a transition as possible. And then throughout the year, we also have different activities that you might want to join. So we go on trips, you might go to London or to the UK seaside, and we hold big events for international students just to share the different cultures and help everybody get together and have as good time as possible. So I think that might be the end of my section. If you move on to the next slide. Yes, so I'm going to pass over to Dr. Boris now, and he's going to tell you all about the programs that we have here at the University of Derby.
Thank you very much, Anna. Before I carry on, can you just please confirm that you can hear me loud and clear?
Yes, we can hear you.
Brilliant.
Perfect.
So thank you and good evening once again. I will spend next 10-15 minutes talking about courses that are on the offer within the School of Built and Natural Environments, but in particular about a course in sustainable architecture and healthy buildings, because it is directly and I would say solely dedicated to the topic of today's webinar. So before we go down to a program level, a courses level, a few words about the school itself. So the school is consisted of built and natural environment courses, and in its ethos looks at the sustainability of both urban and natural landscapes and how those living in landscapes can coexist in the harmony given the pressures of increased numbers of urban population around the world. We know by 2050 we will have more than 3/4 of world population, so more than 75% of people will live in the cities around the world. And we also all are aware of pressures that we are facing with the climate change. So therefore, we need to study very, very hard and very fast, I would say, because time is running out. How do we make sure that the natural and built environment can be designed so they can coexist rather than harm each other? So within this ethos of the program of the school, we obviously got a number of the courses that I'm going to briefly cover here on this side of the built environment. On the graduate level, we got a BSc honors, technical architecture technology course. We got a BA honors interior architecture course. We also got a civil engineering courses, both BA and BSc, and construction management course, as well as BSc in the quantity surveying and commercial management. Today, we're going to spend more attention talking about the master's courses, particularly those three that you can see below, which is in no order of priority: MSc Civil Engineering Construction Management, MSc Building Information Management and Project Collaboration. And as I said, the last one that we will spend most time on being a MSc in Sustainable Architecture and Healthy Buildings. Before I move on to the courses, just a few words about some of the facilities that you're going to find, or you will find if you decide to join us on the Mark Eaton campus. As Anna said, all of these courses reside at the Mark Eaton campus, which is 10 minutes walk away from the Keniston Road campus, which is the main campus. And there we got a architecture studio. We got a lot of equipment that is related to making of the things, 3D printers, laser cutters, also something called Makerspace, which is a student-led workshop facilities where you can go and really make anything they want. But beside that, we obviously got a full sway of structural engineering, civil engineering, surveying, geotechnics, and concrete and material testing equipment, as well as sustainable design and building performance monitoring software and hardware for data monitoring. So full sway of the data for environmental monitoring. Now, moving on to the courses now. The MSc Civil Engineering Construction Management, few words just about it. This is the course that covers the key aspects of civil engineering within the context of the construction management, but in particular pays attention to some of the key aspects also of sustainable development from the civil engineering side, so flood risk management, transport and infrastructure, and project planning and value engineering. The course is accredited by a number of the bodies: the Chartered Institute of Building, the Institute of Highway Engineers, the Institution of Structural Engineers, under the umbrella of what in the UK is known as Joint Board of the Moderators. I will say a few more words about a meaning of accreditation of the courses in the UK or England context, if you're not aware about it, in the few more slides down the line. The next course, as I said, this is in not order of priority, is the Masters in Building Information Management and Project Collaboration. Many of you probably have heard of the building information management, building information modeling, actually, and how it's fastly becoming, in many countries, a highly demanded as a means of digitally enhanced project collaborative approach to a construction project's procurement, and working within the context of international regulations of ISO 19650, and basically teaching you how to deliver better value project through integrated design and project collaboration and use of cutting edge digital technologies, all based on the real world practice projects. But the course that we're most interested in, and the course that, as I said, solely covers the topic of today's webinar, is the Masters in Sustainable Architecture and Healthy Buildings. And both from the title of the webinar, as well as from some key themes here, you can see that sustainable architecture, low energy design, living sustainably and safely in terms of health in buildings, and designing sustainable environments forms both a philosophical as well as a content underpinning of the curriculum within the degree. I've just forgot to say that Masters in Building Information Modeling and Project Operations is accredited by the CIAT's dual accredited course by the CIAT and the RICS. So CIAT is Chartered Institute of Architecture Technologists, and RICS is Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors. And as far as the Masters in Sustainable Architecture goes, it's accredited by Chartered Institute of Architecture Technologists, but it is also part of the CIAT Center of the Excellence, and there is only 4 centers of the excellence in the whole world, and we are one of them. So how does these key themes that matters to our topic today, how are they covered in curriculum? You can see in more detail here. So here we got a key stages of the course. Now I do apologize. There is a mistake there. So these are not year 1, year 2, year 3. There should be semester 1, semester 2, and semester 3. Of course, the program, when you study masters are full-time, the program lasts 1 year. So the top 3 modules, sustainable architecture and low energy design, environmental risk responsibility, and research methods, which are what we refer to half modules. They carry 10 credits, and health in buildings, comparative approaches, which is a final module in your first semester. That gives you a 60 credits and entitlements to postgraduate certificates as a recognized university qualification. Once you do the second semester and you complete sustainable design analysis simulation module, sustainable construction methods and materials module, and designing environments, you will get another 60 credits, and that will entitle you to postgraduate diploma as a university recognized certification. And then finally, once you take your final project or dissertation, independent study we call it, but more commonly known as a dissertation or major project, then you will get your final 60 credits, which will take you to 180 credits, and therefore you will be awarded a master's degree, Masters in Science MSc degree. So again, I will show you some of the examples visually of the student's work. Delani's already introduced me, so I'm not going to say anything about me anymore. I think she has put that quite eloquently, so thank you, Lani. There are obviously other members of the staff today you would get to meet if you decide to join us. And what we are proud of, that we always teach our master's courses by using not only academics but also using a sessional or associate lecturers that are otherwise a full-time industry experts that are working on the senior design or management roles. So we give students a real good mix of academic and practicing or industry relevant knowledge. I did promise you that I'm going to say a few words about the accreditation benefits. I will concentrate on those two, CIAT and the RICS, so Chartered Institute of Architecture Technologists and Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, but similar for any other body. So in the UK, that's very important. Being part of a accredited course allows you to progress to full chartered membership of a particular professional organization. In this case, we are talking about the Chartered Institute of Architecture Technologists, which in turn allows you to have to put your membership on your business card and to be able to undertake your own projects and hold your own professional indemnity as well as working for the others and basically sign for your work. When you join, you get free student membership, and with this free student membership, you get access to students and members networks, to knowledge and resource databases, and to a number of the case studies that you'll find very useful in your study. And that's free. Once you graduate, you will be eligible to apply for the associate membership, which is a step in between before you get your full membership or charter membership. That's in terms of designation is known as MCIAT or member of the CIAT Institute. Similar for the RICS, Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, you will be able to get to a full membership within 2 years upon the completion of your graduation if you are working after your graduation straight away. And during your study, you'll be able to access for free a network of over 134,000 RICS professionals worldwide, the link group, something called RICS Matrix, which is another great place where you can connect with the people, find about the training and for potential jobs, as well as access to a knowledge and resource, again, database, which is full of the great journals, conference, seminars, webinars, and other resources that are not actually often in the public domain. So we not only say or listen to what the Boris says, there is a feedback of one of our students, Jareen Sunni, who came to our course from India. Now he's decided to stay in the UK, and currently he's got a senior design role in the Pick Everard, which is very well known design consultancy in the UK. They also do quite a bit of international work. And you can see here from the quote that the students are what they're trying to express in terms of the quality of the courses, but also this thing which we find is very important, that the lectures are adapted to students coming from different backgrounds, so that means that nobody's left behind, whether you are coming from architectural or structural or civil or quantity surveying or any other background. You will be able to succeed on those courses that we have just presented. That's also reflected through our postgraduate survey. This is a confidential, anonymous, government commissioned survey of the students' opinion about the course. And we have received the maximum score of 100% the last 3 years on all 3 key aspects of quality of the teaching, of how intellectually stimulating the lectures and teaching is, and how enthusiastic is the staff about the teaching and supporting the students. And we obviously are proud of that, because it is hard to get 100% anyhow, but to keep it for 3 years in a row, it does demonstrate both commitment and the quality of what we deliver. How we do that? Well, there's a mixture of the things. So like I said, we use academic lecturers. We also use industry experts to teaching. We got a number of the guest lectures, a number of the ways to connect with the industry, because we are obviously a practical discipline, and the problem that we are trying to solve in terms of the climate change is essential for our industry, built environment industry around the world. At the average, it is responsible for 39, let's call it 40% of the CO2 emissions, total CO2 emissions, and about 33% or third of all energy use. So that means more than any other industry, including transport industry, and therefore we are rightly, as a built environment professionals, under the pressure to contribute towards the reduction in those CO2 emissions and energy consumption, which obviously not only is good for the climate change and for this planet, and there is no planet B, this is the only planet that we got, but it's also very good for a client finance. It's good for the client pocket because energy efficient buildings are save money in terms of the operational costs and energy costs for the client. So you get the best of the both worlds if you get it right. We also got a strong links with the industry, which students use for the placements or potential job offers, and that is here visually represented by some of the companies that we work with regularly. That these are companies that are ranging from local Midlands companies to national companies to international or even world-renowned companies. A few examples of the student work. So here we are seeing example of sustainable design analysis and building performance simulation work, and you can see here that this is, as you'd expect, based and quite heavily influenced by design side of the things that you would expect to see on this course, but obviously impossible to understand without understand how to use simulation softwares. And that's why we teach you how to use them on these courses. In this particular case, we use Autodesk Insight 360 that works with the Revit, Autodesk products, and something called Integrated Environment Solutions, which is probably one of the most accurate, certainly top 3 most accurate recognized building performance simulation systems or softwares in the world. We also look at some other systems. So we look at the use of the building information modeling and in some cases even visual programming. But the point is that this is not about the software, but it is about understanding how do we quantify some of those sustainable decisions that we're trying to make with our buildings. You know, what happens to a solar gains to my building if I rotate it along its longitudinal axis on the side for 30 degrees from southeast to southwest? What would happen to heat gains and losses to my building if I increase the amount of insulation from 100 to 200 millimeters? What happens if I increase the amount of the glazing, fenestration, the windows from 40% to 60% on the south side? What would happen if I add another floor to building? You know, all these are very important decisions that will have a direct impact on building performance, but without learning how to use simulation software, we don't simply know how to quantify them. And that's why I have spent a little bit of the time talking about the software itself. So we obviously do also research. I myself am an experienced PhD supervisor, and I've got about 10 successful PhD students. Up to now, I've currently got 6 PhD students studying with me. And the work that we do in terms of the research, you can see here one of the examples of the energy positive, carbon negative house that I worked with, that I worked on here in Midlands called Heron's Wood. That means this house uses less energy than it produces and gives away the rest to the grid, and also means that it captures more carbons than actually produces. So that's what we mean by carbon negative, energy positive. But in the more themed way, we can see here key themes that we look in terms of our research are to do with sustainable architecture, healthy buildings. You can see a number of the key topics: passive design strategies, building performance simulation, sustainable refurbishment of historic and traditional buildings, climatic adaptability, overheating, life cycle assessments. In terms of healthy buildings, look at the post-occupancy evaluation, thermal, visual, acoustic comfort, energy epidemiology, architecture neuroscience, architecture dementia, nature connectedness, human-centered design, bioclimatic urban design. And these are the key themes related to today's topic, but you can also see there are some other topics that we look at that are indirectly connected to sustainability and technology themes of today's presentation. So on the sides, you can see some of the visual example of the work that I've just described. And here you can see more zoomed in, a few more examples of the PhD work. So top one, again, in the priority is designing adaptive building envelopes or kinetic facade systems that minimize the solar gains, particularly in the hot countries, but still provide adequate levels of the daylight that we know it's very important, both in terms of the psychological and physical health of the occupants. Here we're talking about that carbon negative, energy positive house that I've just mentioned, and that's the research on that project. And here we're looking at the sustainable and fully autonomous classroom facility that can be a modular building that can be installed within the 3 days. So basically, if the request from school comes on the Friday afternoon, the classroom that holds 110 square meters, 30 odd pupils, should be functional and will be functional by Monday morning. But fully sustainable, fully autonomous, looking after its own energy needs. So a few more words about, from me, before I pass it on to Anna to finish off. So employability on these courses is very high. It's about 100% of our graduates are in the work or further study within the 6 months of completion of their course. And that is so for both survey of the students that have decided to stay in the UK or are UK born, as well as for the international students. But also some of the students decide to further their studies, so to carry from their masters to a PhD studies, in some cases directly, particularly with the international students. And in some cases, they do actually start working either in UK or some internationally, and then they do their doctorate PhD part-time. So doctorate PhD degree can be done part-time and can also be done on the distance. So you don't have to be physically in the Derby to undertake this course. Although if you decide to come and do it physically on campus, of course, you're welcome to do so. And now we're going to pass on to the Anna. So Anna, can you hear me?
I can, yes. Can you hear me?
Thank you. So I'm going to just move to the fees and finance, and Anna's going to say a few words about that.
Perfect, thank you. So just to finish off, we're going to give you a little bit of the information about if you did decide to come to the University of Derby. So in particular for our postgraduate courses, which we've just been talking about, you can see the fee on there is £14,700. So going to university is a real investment in your future and in your career, and you'll have those two costs to consider. So that is your fee, so your programme fee, whether that's undergraduate or postgraduate, and then you'll have your cost of living to consider. So I did say that Derby's got a pretty good cost of living compared to other big cities in the UK. If you did choose to stay in the university halls of residence, you're looking at needing money for your rent, which is between about £110 and £150 per week, depending on where you decide to stay. We've got many different options in terms of rooms and room sizes. And then you'll need to spend money on food, clothing, and socialising and transport as well. So they're just a couple of the costs that you need to consider. We've put the averages on there. Obviously, if you decided to eat out every night and visit lots of bars, you're going to probably spend a little bit of money on the food and socialising. But because we do have such a strong community in our accommodation halls, there's lots of ways of kind of having fun and making friends and socialising without spending too much money. So the halls of residence often host different nights if you like, say pizza nights or films nights and things like that. Next slide, please. So these are the general entry requirements for students from Indonesia. Obviously, each course has specific entry requirements, and the best place to look for specific entry requirements is on each individual course page, and then to contact myself or someone on the program team, and we can look at your individual qualification, because we take each qualification and each application on a case-by-case basis. But generally, if you want to come into a postgraduate program at the University of Derby, you will need your Diploma 4 from an institution that's recognised by something that we call NARIC, which is a government, well, it's a private body here in the United Kingdom. If your course is asking for the comparable of a UK 2.1, you'd need a GPA of about 3.0. And if it's looking for a 2.2, you'd need a GPA of about 2.5. We do consider direct entry onto our undergraduate programs as well. So if you've completed your Diploma 3, but you haven't quite done your 4th year yet, we do sometimes offer opportunities to come into the 3rd year of a program or a top-up program to bridge that gap. But like I said, we'd look at each individual application on a case-by-case basis. And we'd also look at things like your work experience, especially for the postgraduate programs, what you've been doing in industry and any experience that you've got in that way. Generally, for postgraduate programs here at the university, you will need an IELTS of 6.5 with a minimum of 5.5 in all areas. That's speaking, listening, reading and writing. But we do also accept other English language qualifications. So there's a full list on the website. And again, you can check with us directly. But we also have something called the Derby English Language Test, which is very similar to the IELTS test, and you get a score the same. But that would only be able to be used if you're applying just for the University of Derby. Other universities wouldn't accept that. But if you did think I'm only applying for the University of Derby, it's a little bit more cost effective to do that. It's a little bit less than that the IELTS test is. Next slide, please. So we've talked a little bit about the cost of coming to university. It's a big investment, probably one of the biggest investments in terms of money that you'll make. So we do offer international students several different ways of trying to reduce that cost. For example, in this September 2022, if you did decide to join one of our postgraduate programs, we have a £2,000 scholarship, which is applicable to all international students that are on one of those qualifying programs. That's automatically discounted from your course fee. So you'd make the course fee £12,700. And then we also have several other scholarships. So that International Merit Scholarship, which is worth £1,500, that can be combined with the £2,000 scholarship. And then we've got several big scholarships. So these ones that are above £5,000 need to be applied for. There's a separate application. And we would advise you to not apply for a scholarship until you have had an offer to study with us. So if you've been made a conditional offer, that might be conditional on passing on providing your English language results. At that point, then you could apply for a scholarship. The biggest scholarship is the Vice Chancellor Scholarship. That would fund your whole fees for the year. And then the Great Scholarship. So this is in partnership with the British Council. And we're really excited to be offering it again. We've been doing this now for about 3 years with several countries in Southeast Asia. But it will provide £11,000 towards the programme fee to eligible students studying on a postgraduate programme. So the terms and conditions are all on the website. There's a separate application. What we're asking for is for you to submit about 500 words on a topic that inspired you to want to study your postgraduate course, and how it's led to you wanting to study that course, and why it's inspired you, why it's impacted on your career aspirations, and what you're going to achieve in terms of your career by studying that programme. And if you were lucky enough to receive one of those scholarships, we would work with you throughout the year as well, in terms of to promote the university to future scholars as well. Because they are quite competitive, those scholarships that are looking at kind of being fully funded, or £11,000, you are looking at needing at least a GPA of 3.6, sorry, or 3.8 there. Yeah, but next slide, please. So once you enroll at the university, you'll automatically become a member of the Union of Students. So the Union at Derby runs more than 60 societies, from academic to active to charity, religious and cultural societies. So there are lots of ways that you can get involved in the social life at the university. You could also join one of the cultural groups. So we've got something called Derby Worldwide, that's our international society. And then we also have many, many other societies. If you're interested in sport, then we also have quite a lot of competitive sports teams. So from football, basketball, rowing, horse riding, many, many. And they all compete against other universities here in the UK. So every Wednesday afternoon, our teams will compete against other universities. It gets very competitive. It's all very fun. And if you don't like playing sport, lots of students like to go and watch. And if not, then you get a nice free afternoon with no lectures that you can study or go and do something else. So there's lots and lots of things to get involved with. I talked a bit earlier about the international events that we hold as well. So we know how daunting it is to come to a different country, and we'll do as much as we can to support you to make friends once you're here. Next slide, please. So finally, just a little bit about our student halls. So I showed you that map earlier about what we call the university quarter of the city. Within that, the university halls are all kind of scattered between. So we have halls right next to the Mark Eaton Street campus, right next to the law building. They're all within easy distance of reaching those bars and restaurants, depending on where you wanted to live and which area of the city you wanted to live in. 10 to 20 minutes maximum walk, we would say. All of our halls have 24-hour security and free weekly cleaning, and your rent includes those bills, so things like gas, electricity and water, and then you get your free Wi-Fi and TV included in that as well. That's just something we like to mention because often people look at private accommodation in the city and think it's a lot cheaper, but then you just need to consider that yes, it's absolutely fine for you to live in private accommodation, but you would need to consider the costs of your bills on top of that, okay? Living in halls, like I said, is between about 110 to 150 pounds per week, depending on what halls you're in and what type of room you have. Probably the biggest difference in price is whether you have an ensuite or so your own bathroom or you have a shared bathroom. So flats are in usually about 6 people to a flat. You either have your own bathroom in your room or you have a shared one. That's the biggest difference in price, but they all have their own kitchen. You always have your own room. We don't have any shared rooms. So you'll get your own bed, wardrobe, and a desk. And then there's social spaces as well. So you'll have your own kitchen in your flat, but then downstairs we have things like table tennis and pool, TV and things like that. If you did want to look for private accommodation, we do have a link through on our website that takes you to university approved private accommodation. So it just means that we've checked that the landlords are kind of suitable and that the accommodation is safe for you. We guarantee international students a room in our halls of residence if you apply by the 31st of August. So term starts the end of September. As long as you've applied by the end of August, we can give you a room. We can't guarantee which room that will be. So if you've got a very specific hall that you want to live in with a very specific ensuite, double Dulux room, then you need to apply sooner than that because they're the ones that go very quickly. But we will give you a room, and most of our halls have been recently done up anyway. So they're all very nice and suitable accommodation. Next slide, please. So finally, we're going to have some questions after, but if you did want to find out more information about the university, you can log on to our website, derby.ac.uk. There's something on there called Derby On Demand. you can sign up to that, and there's lots and lots of little videos on there. So it might be, lots of them are student-led, so the students can show you around the accommodation buildings, around the facilities, around the city, telling you what's the best thing to do and the fun that they have in the city. There's also something on there called UniBuddy, where you can ask students directly questions about the university, because we know we can tell you all lots of things about what it's like to live in the university, but the best people to tell you the truth are the students, and they can give you the best advice. So you go onto our website and sign up for Derby On Demand, or look for UniBuddy as well. So I think that's it from us. Sorry. I think if we pass back to Lainey, we're going to see if we've got any questions, and we're going to hang around for a little bit to answer any of your questions.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, Dr. Boris. Very interesting. Teman-teman, kalau misalnya memang ada pertanyaan, silahkan diketik di Q&A box yang tersedia. Nanti kita akan share ke Anna ataupun Dr. Boris. In the meantime, Dr. Boris, there is one question in the chat box. I think it's for you. Are you looking for a postdoctoral researcher in your department at University of Derby?
Right, sorry, just checking that you can still hear me, can you?
Yeah.
Great. So to answer the question, in principle, yes. Now, it is usually those kind of postdoctoral research positions are always connected to a particular funded project. So it is useful to keep an eye on both the adverts and keep in the touch with staff at the university, such as me, to keep regularly finding out whether a particular position has been or will be advertised or not. So it's not something that is always on the offer, but it can, and it often does happen, related to a particular funded research project and the needs of the project.
Thank you. Is that answering your questions, Marifa? I hope it does. While waiting for the other questions, teman-teman, apabila ada pertanyaan, silahkan diketik di Q&A box. Nanti akan kita jawab, akan kita sampaikan ke Dr. Boris. In the meantime, Dr. Boris, I was just wondering, in your slide earlier, you were saying that it consists of 2 terms, right? Semester 1 and semester 2. But in your slide as well, it says that semester 1 students will do this, and term 2 student will do this, or self-study. I think I read it in your PowerPoint as well.
Right, yeah. I will go back to this. I will go back to the slide.
Yeah.
So, like I said, apologies. So this should not be saying year 1, year 2, year 3. Should be saying semester 1, semester 2, semester 3. So,
right.
so it's basically a 1-year course. In the year 2, students can choose one of the options. So they can study either designing environments or a CPD module. So they make choice. So they have to do sustainable design analysis simulation. They have to do sustainable construction methods and materials. And they make choice whether they want to study this module or that module. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And
if the student joins, if the student joins in September, for example, so they'll be studying those 3 modules in autumn semester, which is from end of the September till Christmas, as we say, but basically end of December. Then they would study in the spring semester, which is January to May, and dissertation or final year project or major project, they would study in the summer semester, which would be May to September. So they get to complete in 1 year. Also, the course does also have an entry in January. So the students can apply either to start their study in September or January.
Right. So the term 3 will be the independent study for dissertation.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oke, teman-teman, masih ada pertanyaan lain? Kalau misalnya memang tidak ada pertanyaan lagi, kita akan segera mengakhiri sesi ini. I would like to remind friends at AECC Global bahwa hari Sabtu tanggal 14 Mei dari jam 3 sampai jam 5 University of Derby akan mengadakan one-on-one session. Bagi Anda yang masih punya banyak pertanyaan mengenai different programs ataupun program ini dan ingin tahu lebih lanjut mengenai postgraduate atau undergraduate atau different tuition fees atau benefitnya atau scholarshipnya post study work visa, boleh daftar melalui counselor Anda atau melalui website AECC Global. Nanti kita akan kedatangan tamu dari University of Derby langsung dari UK melalui link Zoom di hari Sabtu tanggal 14 Mei 22 dari jam 3 sampai jam 5. Jadi jangan lupa Anda buat appointment terlebih dahulu melalui counselor Anda atau langsung melalui website kami. Alright. Thank you very much then, Dr. Boris. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Anna, thank you so much for being with us as well tonight. So we will see maybe you or Sim on Saturday, 14th May at 3 to 5 p.m. Indonesian time, which is early morning in your time.
Yes.
All right. Teman-teman AECC Global, terima kasih for being with us tonight. Sampai bertemu di hari Sabtu, tanggal 14 Mei dari jam 3 sampai jam 5 di acara one-on-one with University of Derby. Selamat malam. Bye for now.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
That's the thing about life. It can be unpredictable, but your dreams need not be. How far would you go to make your dreams come true? How close are you to reaching those goals set by you? While others focus on a new normal, you focus on a new beginning. Look around for what inspires you. Build your narrative. After all, it's your story to tell. Take a chance. Take a leap. Begin your study abroad journey with us.
Looking for the right course for you? Welcome to AECC Global's Course Search, your one-stop platform for all your international education needs. Browse through millions of free, valuable study abroad resources to pursue your international study dream. To begin your search, type in your preferred course in the search bar. Filter by sub-course category, level of study, destination preference, tuition fees, duration, and post-study work visa. With a destination drop-down, you can search for the preferred destinations of your choice. You can also filter down courses like top-ranked universities in your preferred destination and their rankings. Browse through various career choices, and you can also browse through free student resources like articles on tips to study abroad, the latest news, etc. We are here to support you with every step of your study abroad journey. To explore your course options, visit search.aeccglobal.com.